An ultramarathon is any race, longer than a marathon in distance. Common ultras tend to be 50 Ks, 50 miles, 100 Ks, or 100 miles, and some much longer. Currently, 0.007% of the population has ran an ultra. A far lesser number, those who have completed a 100-mile race. With that being said, over 600,000 people compete in an ultra each year. This is the story of one.
I'm Travis Kearin. I'm 41 years old, and I'm getting ready to run the Yeti 100 in Hyak, Washington.
The course is running really great, and I'm glad it's not yesterday. It was a shitty day up here yesterday. 50 milers. You will run to see an avalanche sign. I have a yellow sign that says turn around. If you see an avalanche sign, turn around. Just remember that. 100K, 100 mile, out past Crystal Springs will be a turnaround sign for you. 2 yellow ones. If you keep running past that, bonus miles are appreciated here. One thing to know, I usually say start off slow, but today's the day. Give it hell now. Yeah. Give it hell. You're not gonna get this kind of weather much. It's usually hot as fuck down there. Just give it hell. You can really put some time in the bank. I know people don't say that a lot. If you have a 3-2 plan, keep it. I'm not telling you to get off that plan. But thank you for coming. And most of all, thank you for believing in races that don't have sponsors, not owned by Ironman or some dumb shit like that. Remember, it can hurt at mile 2 and still hurt the whole damn day. It's ultra running. It's nothing else. This is the beauty of it. And remember, you get to do this, and that's an awesome thing, okay? Have fun, be safe, don't get weird. Like bad weird, get good weird, okay? Once again, thank you so much, all of you, for coming. Thank you.
Way more beat ups than I anticipated being at this point. I just can't run anymore. I need to go now if I'm gonna not let this guy beat me. All of a sudden I can jog and I'm pain-free. I start going a little faster, a little faster. And if I pass this guy, I have to pass him hard so he doesn't think that he should be coming after me. And I don't think I have enough in me to maybe fight him off if he has some fight left. As I pass him hard. I start to hear footsteps behind me and they start to match my pace. So I pick up my pace more. I hear his footsteps pick up. I go more, and again, more. I roll into this dead out, afraid for my life. I can't lose at this point in the race. I've done 2 ultras now. Last year I ran my first ultra marathon. It was a 50 miler, and I couldn't get my mind off that for the whole year. I trained real hard and I ran another one a month ago. And I placed first in it, and something just has me wanting to see what I'm capable of. So I thought, why not go for 100?
Okay, you guys ready?
So in 2022, I ran my first marathon. It was actually here up here in Hyak, and it's called the Jack and Jill Downhill Marathon. And it was my first taste of what it's like to run a longer distance. And I kind of fell in love with it, and I got bit by the bug. And for the next year in 23, I ran the Jack and Jill Downhill again, and I also ran the Rainier to Ruston. And the Rainier to Ruston is designed kind of as a relay race. It's a 51-mile race from Mount Rainier Park to the Tacoma waterfront in Washington, and I ended up taking second place on my first time, and it was a real achievement to go through all the training and develop the fitness needed for that, and it was the most fun I ever had running, really. And so all year long, I couldn't think about anything else except for I wanted to run this Rainier to Ruston again and take first place. So this year, after another year of training, I was ready and I ran the Rainier to Ruston and took first place in 7 hours and 32 minutes. The race this year was 2 miles longer because of some construction, so 7:32 was a solid time. I was aiming to get it under 7 hours, but next year that should be definitely achievable. And leading up to this 50-mile race, I was doing a lot of research on just what other races are out there because I think I might be ready for something else. And I ran into this Yeti 100, and there's a local one. It started out in Virginia. It's a really well followed race. I love the culture, and I found out there's one in Washington State as well. It's actually on the same course that I've run the Jack and Jill Marathon on a couple times, or a good portion of it is. And it just sounded like where the culture and the course and everything met and timing in my training, it seemed like the run for me. 1 month after this recent 53-mile run, I have done some training and some recovery, and I'm ready to run my first 100 miles. So leading up to this bigger race, I got lost in a lot of running documentaries, personal journeys, and hardships people have gone through running 100-mile races, and it just seems like something that you can't access in daily life and something you can't access in a marathon or something shorter. Watching these people go through this, it just immediately rings true as something that I need to go through myself, I think. One of the reasons I chose the Yeti 100 specifically, of course it's in my home state, so that makes it easier, but even if it wasn't, I think I might have wanted to go out to Virginia. I love the environment and the culture they've created, and they're just not so strictly regulated or making it too unfun. You know, this is running, it's about doing hard stuff and seeing what you're capable of. And I believe the Yeti Trail Runners embodies that.
What kind of music do you listen to?
EDM, usually on the running. My number one concern for the race is nutrition. A year and a half ago when I ran the 50-mile race, tailwind, I had it dialed in with a couple goos, and I felt fantastic the whole race except for just muscle fatigue. This year I tried a repeat of that strategy, and my stomach just stopped taking in nutrition, and I had to go all water for the second half, and that's pretty brutal to do, especially over 100 miles. So I've been concerned, and it's my number one worry is can I dial in my nutrition to not go too far, but yet provide myself with enough to make it the whole, keep some steam and some gas on there for the whole race.
I'm way more beat up than I anticipated being at this point. I thought I'd be feeling pretty on top right now. Right now I'm actually got a lot of leg pain, but no cramps.
So I've been trying to prepare myself mentally for this, and I'm not really sure there is one thing or a series of things I can do except for just kind of fall back on the hours and miles that happened in my 2 previous ultras and the training leading up to this. But I have been watching all these videos, and it seems like regardless of how confident and great people are feeling at mile 15, 20, they're all changing their tune a little bit later in the game, like miles 60 to 80 and further than that even. I find myself screaming into my phone when I'm watching these for people to run, but they just don't have it in them. And these are, you know, excellent athletes that were running 7-minute miles earlier on. So I've been trying to prepare myself to not come out of the gate crazy hot and not try and take the lead. If someone's running too fast in the beginning, I'm gonna let them go and see if I can maybe reel them in as things get more difficult later on.
Okay. See you guys. Great to see ya.
So based on my two 50-mile races, I'm definitely anticipating getting to a point where my body tells me I absolutely have to walk in little segments. In this most recent 50-mile run, I found myself walking 30 seconds, jogging until my legs were screaming, which wasn't very long later in the race. And then I would count down from 30 while running, trying to just prolong the run. And then I'd walk for 30 seconds and then get back into it. To be honest, I stretched a couple of those to 45 seconds or more on the very last few. I even found myself doing that right up maybe 3 miles shy of the finish line, which to me seemed crazy, but it's what my body was telling me I needed to do.
Travis mentioned to his crew that he was starting to feel some lower body fatigue. This was early in the race still, so admittingly, the crew was somewhat concerned. Travis had trained for this day for a long, long time. Even though he had some leg pain, he was going to take his own advice and continue pushing hard.
This time around, I'm gonna see what it's like to ignore those signals if I can, if that's even a thing, and see how much farther you can go when you just tell your body, no, I'm not stopping now, and maybe later, you know, because if I did that starting at 50 miles into this race, I don't think I would stand a chance at running the time I'm really hoping to run. When it all starts to unfold for real, I don't know how I'm truly going to act. It takes a lot more to do that in the moment than it does in planning.
I should have had a little more respect for the distance. I already had to go to a run-walk interval. Yeah. And for now, I kind of degraded through different steps, and right now it's on a 2 minutes on, 1 minute walk. I'm trying not to walk slow, and I can feel myself recovering a little bit. I still feel my legs are shot and I'm a little under the weather, but I need some ibuprofen and some Tiger Balm and some flat ground.
I don't know about the stingers. I couldn't even eat those. We'll find out after the next. Or I'm gonna take 2 and put a couple away. Thank you. That's all good.
By the time I got to the aid station, I was there a couple minutes, and when I left the aid station, I was in second place. From there, it was going to be 3 out and backs towards Easton, but not quite to Easton. 3 out and backs towards the east side of Washington. So I actually got to do the Boston Marathon this year. My Jack and Jill marathon last year I did a qualifying time of 3:02:48, and I trained super, super hard. I had all the plans to run under 3 hours in Boston, and you know, when I got there, I kind of choked a bit. I ran 3:19 and got hung up in crowds in the beginning and allowed that to give me reasons and logic to back off and just not try for my goal. So that race taught me that I need to put everything I have and lay it all out there. At the Boston Marathon, I realized that, you know, there's people of all ages that can do incredible things and incredible paces, and I hope to be up there one day. When you look at the elite athletes, I hate to say that I never can do something or can't. I don't like to teach my kids can't. I don't like to ever say can't, but I'm never going to, and I can't run a 2:02 marathon, you know. 2:10 seems pretty impossible. I'm 41 years old, and so it's kind of cool to be able to to believe that someday I could be in the elite range for very long distance running. It's something that older people like myself can actually get in there and compete at. I don't think I want to use ever the word elite with what I'm saying that I could be, though, because everyone's real definition of elite is probably better than where I'm going to get, you know, working full-time job and all training on the side. But I think I can get to the place where I win some races, and that's pretty exciting to be able to go out there and win a race. It would mean a lot to finish this race for me. You know, it's been years in the making of training and missing no training days and sticking to a plan and improving my plan and testing on race day and winning and failing. And I feel like I've reached a point where I'm ready for this next challenge, and it's a really big deal for me to finish the race. It's an even bigger deal for me to make sure that when I finish the race, I feel like I left it all out there, regardless of what position that leaves me in. I just want to know that I gave it my all. I'm actually looking forward to being out there on the trail and being in the glory hours in the early. I'm really looking forward to that. It's pretty awesome to be fresh and tapered and ready to rock and be running strong. And in a sick way, I'm looking forward to seeing how nasty it gets later on in the race too. And I'm looking forward to lugging it out when it gets tough. So on that first out and back, it's about 8 miles from Hyak to the aid station, and then only about 1.5 miles out to a turnaround point where there's a couple signs marked, and then 1.5 miles back to the aid station, and then you head back to Hyak. And we're gonna do 3 laps of that. So on the first lap, it was really important for me to pay attention to who was where so I could kind of gain the placing. So I checked my watch when I got to the turnaround point, and I was looking for third place to see how far behind me he was, and it was 8 minutes in after I turned around running back that I saw someone off in the distance, and I saw like someone dressed in black kind of pause, turn around, turn back, step off to the side, and then kind of run backwards. And I thought, well, maybe it's a spectator, or maybe it was someone's pacer or someone looking for the next runner. So when I got back to the aid station, I asked my crew and the people around, did a racer come through here after me and then come back before me? And they said, yeah. And he's acting confused about where the turnaround point was. So interestingly enough, I was now in third place because that was second place. It was about, since I saw him down the way when I was 8 minutes out and we were about a minute away from meeting, he's maybe 18 minutes behind me, but now was in second place, and so I had some catch up to do there.
Okay, see you guys in a little bit. See ya.
So right about mile 60-ish, which would be after down the hill, up the hill, and after the first out and back, we decided to change socks again and check on the blister. And at this point, I had a big light bulb looking blister on the side of my toe where the blister patch had fallen off, and someone told me that there's a blister lady there that's willing to like lance and tape them. So I kind of lost a lot of time doing this, but I gained some peace of mind and fixed that there at that aid station. I think that took about 20 minutes. So after the blister fix, I believe I was passed by a couple people in there, and I was able to make those places back pretty quickly on the next out and back leg. And while I had never ran more than 50 miles before, there's something about not counting the miles. I was kind of counting the aid stations, and even better than that, I was counting just the out and backs. So the way this course was broken up mentally helped me chunk it to where it didn't seem so bad. For example, I was done with the first out and back, and I could think to myself, 60 miles and I have 40 more, this is crazy. For some reason it wasn't setting in on me like that. I was thinking, hey, I'm already done with one of 3 out and backs, all I have to do is just 2 more and that's it. It kind of felt totally achievable. And at no point during the race did I think I wasn't gonna finish it. It was just a matter of what pace was I going to be able to run, how well I was going to do, and what place I would get. And that surprised me more than anything, I think, is that I was waiting to just hit total rock bottom where I was throwing up or couldn't move or in tears or something trying to get rolling, and that moment never came, and that's what surprised me the most. While I wasn't ever at a mega rock bottom, I did though have pain starting to set in my leg. Actually multiple places, but early on in the race, about mile 39, I was just about to enter the tunnel at the top of the hill. I had gone down and up, and my quads were tight. And normally if I have tight quads, I just do these like butt kicker, little light butt kicker things while I run, and I get like an active stretch out of it. And I did some, like, for whatever reason, some hard ones. In the very first one I did, I felt a little something on my left leg, but it went away. But I felt like oh, and then it kind of went away. Later in the race, that came to kind of bite me in the butt. I don't know if it was that specifically, but I started to develop, along with the traditional like bruised feet and toes and aches and pains, I started to develop some pretty bad pain in the outside of my left knee. At first, the pain in my knee was just a bother, and it slowed me down, and I was grimacing, but I was able to fight through it. And then it became something that would be unbearable. As I started to run, it would go away and then come right back in with about 30 seconds, and I would just try and hold my run as long as I could, as long as I could hang in there. And it was kind of a fight to balance what I could do with what I thought would keep me safe and what would keep my place in the race. What was really cool is my family, so my wife and my kids were there at right around mile 60 when I came back from the first out and back, and that really lifted my spirits. And my son got to run out with me, kind of wished me off on that run, and it was pretty cool.
How does it feel to be an ultra runner?
Good.
Keep walking with me. Good? How far did you run today?
A mile?
What's that?
A mile.
A mile? You keep walking. We're gonna walk back to your mom, okay? You ran a mile today?
I think so.
Whoa. How you feel?
Great.
Feel like an athlete? Yeah?
One of my favorite things that I wasn't expecting was Lake Ketchless that you run by. You run along a raised bank of that for the entirety of the lake on the whole out and back leg, and it's such a great view. And there's been so many times where I've been on the other side of the lake on I-90 and thought, I wonder what's over there, and there we were, this course running over there. So that was pretty cool. So throughout the race, you start to get fatigue in certain areas and pains, and most of them you just deal with, and I knew that I was going to be facing these sorts of things and that I would be having to overcome adversity or aches, pains, things that I shouldn't. Discomfort would be a good word for it. I started to develop this knee thing started to progress to a worsening situation, and I've never really had a running injury, so I didn't know what I was dealing with. The knee started to hurt to the point where I thought I might have some sort of stress fracture, because every single step I took felt like pins and needles on my joint of my knee. And I was thinking maybe somewhere there right at the socket I had done something to it, and possibly just because of the high mileage done some sort of stress fracture. So the whole time I'm wondering, can I run on this? Should I run on this? Meanwhile, it was pretty excruciating pain.
There's one more time you sat in. Yep. 3 laps of this thing. 1 more round. Are you up for 20 miles? If I would like that.
So I picked up my cousin Taylor with about 20 or 21 miles left, somewhere there at the last time at Hyak, and he was going to pace me for the whole last leg there. And I was kind of hurting, so it was a welcome thing to have him there to talk to, and it was a good distraction, and keep me company and keep me going during the race. Unfortunately, he was there for the worst part of my race where I was struggling the most. I don't like to be a quitter. I don't like to admit defeat or stop something I say I'm gonna do. And there was, we were on a 2-minute run, 1-minute walk timer, and there was some times where it started to taper to where every once in a while I had to skip a run one or delay, or it just started to degrade into a little bit worse and worse.
Hey, how you doing?
Sore everywhere. We've been doing a little extra walking because we haven't yet seen 4th place.
So we've got 8 miles left. It's the final push. I think we're in second, or Travis is in second. Killing it.
There's a chance.
There's a chance.
Around after we left the final aid station out there, and we had less than 8 miles to go, probably 7 miles left, 7 or 6 miles left, I had reached a point where I literally felt that my life would have to depend on it to run. I thought maybe I couldn't run anymore without risking super injury. And so we had decided, since I was so far ahead of what we thought of 3rd place, that I would just play it a little safe and get in at a reasonable pace.
We have a little less than 3 miles to go, maybe 2.5, and I just can't run anymore. I'm gonna try and save a little bit for the end, but it would be great to just walking right at this moment. That's kind of the best I can do.
On the last out and back we did, my cousin and I thought we should time again from the turnaround and just see how much of a buffer I had on on 4th place. So that way I could see how hard I had to push and I could weigh out risk versus reward on my leg, because it truly felt like any running I was doing was putting damage to my leg. At that moment, it seemed more important to have 3rd place and risk a little bit of damage, so we decided to count. And I was 22 minutes back towards the finish line by the time we saw 4th place, or who we thought was 4th place at the time. And so I had then a 44-minute lead, and so we decided to just keep our run-walk intervals and maybe take it easy and make sure that I made it in without pushing myself too hard, and just make sure that I maintained my 3rd place. On our last leg, it was, I guess, 8 miles. On the way back, it felt like forever. It was the longest leg of the whole race. And I didn't see any hallucinations or anything, but I was a bit foggy. And conversations we had, I don't really remember the whole thing. The way events went down, I don't necessarily remember, or who I saw, but by the time the race was over, I was in 4th place, and we were baffled for a couple days on how that even happened. Going back over people's Strava, going back over mine, when were we passed? How could this possibly have happened? And then we both remembered that on the last 8 miles, someone went by us, you know, at a nice slow jog, barely faster than us, and we were walking at the time. And I had seen the guy before, and I always had been a leg at least ahead of him early on, and in the middle of the race he was not in contention for a position, or so I thought. And eventually, come the end of the race, we find out he was on the same leg as me, and we just let him cruise right by us, kind of uncontested. In the previous times when we had seen this guy, he had been running with a pacer, so I was a little thrown off. And I didn't have everyone's face figured out, but I knew from the shorts this guy was wearing, they were really distinctive shorts, so I knew who he was from that. At some point when we were getting later on in the run, last mile or two, we decided, you know what, I think we can still get this barely under 18 hours, and that's important to me. I wanted to hold on to that. I didn't like the fact that I had basically had to walk a good amount, and I wanted to finish strong. And it felt like everything I had. It really, truly felt like I was giving everything I had to do some shuffle running off and on, and I'd have to stop and then start again. Definitely not 2 minutes at a time, much smaller increments, and we were trying to make it back in under the 18 hours. The whole time I'm thinking, am I gonna have anything in me? I don't wanna walk across the finish line. You know, am I gonna have anything in me left to jog or just give it a little something at the end? I'd like to be able to do that. I love to finish races strong. The shorter distances, I usually sprint finish all of my shorter distances, and out of nowhere this guy comes by, and people are passing you both ways through the whole run. You know, with the 3 out and backs and the 3 different types of races going on at the same time, you don't know how far someone's running. Are they a competitor of yours? Are they even on the same out and back as you? And towards the end there, we got passed, just slowly passed by a guy, and I hadn't seen him before, or so I thought, and I wished him good luck. I said, "Hey man, keep it up, good luck, you know, you got this." And he says, "Yeah, I'm just glad to be done." So I looked at Taylor, and we're both like, "Nah, I haven't seen him." But it just, some switch flipped in my head, and I knew I had to keep up with this guy. And so I had let him get, I don't know, 30 yards ahead of me or something, actually maybe 50 yards ahead. And I need to go now if I'm gonna not let this guy beat me. And so all of a sudden I can jog and I am pain-free. I start going a little faster and a little faster and I'm coming up on this guy, but I'm also, then I start to hold off a little bit as I ease up to him, and we're about a half a mile out from the finish at the start of this, so we're a little less than that now. And I go in my head, if I pass this guy, I have to pass him hard so he doesn't think that he should be coming after me, and I don't think I have enough in me. And I don't think I have enough in me to maybe fight him off if he has some fight left. So I start to pick up the pace to the point where as I pass him hard, and then we're coming up, we're nearing the whole finish area. Maybe it's hard to say because it's a bit of a blur, but we're ways out from the finish area, but we're nearing it and I can see it, and it's nighttime. And I have a camera crew here, my cousin and his team, and I pass by a camera guy, and as I had just passed the runner, I passed by a camera guy, and I'm in gravel running, and I'm picking up my pace, and I start to hear footsteps behind me, and they start to match my pace. So I pick up my pace more, and I hear his footsteps pick up. I go more, and again, more, and I roll into this dead out, afraid for my life. I can't lose at this point in the race. I cross the finish line, and I turn around, it's the camera guy. So I did all of that, and I was in that moment of trying to hold on to my third place position, and it was the camera guy. And I was just so relieved, and I was relieved for multiple reasons, actually. I couldn't have asked for a stronger finish, and I really wanted to finish the race strong. And I didn't have that, I left some out on the course guilt, as much as I would, and I felt like I really earned my spot.
Thank you.
You're done? Yeah, seriously, fantastic.
Okay, nice job.
Thank you.
You're under 18?
No. Oh, yes. I did. Congratulations. Thank you so much, man. 58. When you were chasing me, I thought you were someone I just passed.
I was like, oh, you were going so fast. I was like, oh my God.
My family was also there at the finish, but my kids were there lumped over on the ground and couldn't be woken up because it was so late. I believe it was 12:50, it was a couple minutes till 1 a.m. And so they couldn't be woken up to see me, but they were there, and my wife was there.
You're tired.
It was just really cool because for the longest time, we didn't know what hour I was going to finish at all. This is a big unknown. So for them to be there was pretty special.
I am really glad that this is over with.
Cool.
Was it worth it?
More later?
It was worth it. Tonight I wouldn't be signing up for another one, but I bet I would want to sign up tonight.
We're proud of you.
Thank you.
Travis Kearin would finish the Yeti 100 with a time of 17 hours and 58 minutes, just under 18 hours. Travis would take home 4th place on June 28, 2024. Until the next time we meet, we will leave you with this: the Yeti 100 finish line is just the beginning.